Today on Outside the Box Reviews, the man of your dreams is back. Because we're looking at the NECA, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Series 4. Freddy Krueger figure from Freddy's Dead, the Final Nightmare. And this figure is what is being unofficially called the Springwood Slasher figure. And you know, NECA and I, with their Nightmare series, our relationship's been kind of rough lately, but you know, I think I'm ready to love them again. I'm just gonna put it out there right here and now. They fixed my problems, and they alleviated my fears that this line was gonna be going into the dregs and just awful areas. And I still have faith that they could pull out great things with Freddy in the future. So let's take a closer look and get into what Fred's got going on here. The only real accessory we get, so to speak, is the hat. But it's very nicely done. He has a little sash around the fedora. It's got kind of a modeled look to it. Looks very nice. We still have the hard plastic hat. It's a little flexible, but it's mostly a hard plastic. And that is great. That means it's not going to leave scuff marks on my action figure. Love that. No real reason for these to be squishy. Doesn't need to happen. So this is just fine with me. Awesome. Good start. And then, of course, what can make it better? Well, how about a freaking awesome Robert Englund head sculpt? Look at that. That is amazing. No translucent plastic, just plain old painted, but very nicely done. It looks so much like the man. They have some great wrinkled texture going in there. The paint on his face is just nice and subtle. His eyes are really well done. His eyebrows, his hair, things they've never had to do on a Freddy figure. This is obviously based off Robert Englund's appearance in Freddy's Dead, so he does kind of have the balding hair here, but it is nicely sculpted and nicely painted. My only real gripe with any of the paint is you could see here on the side, he almost has like a 5 o'clock shadow going on, but it's not really on the others. I guess it's there, and I can see a little better through the camera than I could in person. It's a little off-putting, it's a little weird. I don't really remember him having a 5 o'clock shadow in the movie. It works just fine. I'm not going to really complain too much about it. The really cool thing is that you could take this head sculpt and probably do some cool customs out of it. If you're willing to resculpt the hair a little bit, maybe give him the goatee that he's had in recent years, you could make a pretty cool Robert Englund whatever out of this. And of course, normal is kept down here on his neck. It matches the rest of the head sculpt, which is nice. Then we have the sweater, which is back to a little darker paint scheme. Not quite as dark as the original ones, but it's definitely a darker look to it than the Dream Child one, which was almost cartoony looking, so that's alright. There's a little bit of slop in the paint, but it looks just fine enough for me. You can see definitely the red up here bled into this green band a lot, which isn't great, but it's okay. My shoulder up here is a little loose and puffed up or stretched out or something. It's a bit awkward, but still not a deal breaker. Sculpted sleeves, these are hard sculpted. Got his iconic glove, of course, the little kind of stubbier blades he had in this movie, a nice pose to the hand. It's a little unique, so that's cool. And if you look at the paint on there, you can see the little black squiggly lines. That is correct to the movie, so that's pretty cool they kept that level of detail in there. Of course, you also have one bent blade, but it's not too bad, and you can fix it with hot water. And the palm in there, not burnt or anything. We have his unburnt hand, which is the same sculpt as every other ungloved hand we've gotten with Freddy. It's just fine, nothing spectacular. No burn marks on it, but it's the same pose. I wish it would have been sculpted so he could hold his hat or something. That would have been kind of cool. But no real complaints. Pants, same pants we always get. And the shoes are very nicely done. Some good paint layers in there. Some black along with the dark brown, the black soles, and the metallic detail on the rivets, which is great. I mean, this is something that they've been hit or miss with on different figures. Once again, the Dream Child one had black shoes with no detail on them at all. Some of the other ones had just dirty brown but no eyelets painted on them. This one's got everything. Nothing really spectacular going on in the back of the figure, but it's all there. For articulation, very standard for a Freddy. Ball jointed head, pin socket shoulders, forward, back, out to the side. Bend and swivel at the elbow. I wish it bent a little more. That'd be nice. But a ball joint at the base of each hand. The weird joint up here that I can't really tell is really there or not. The ball joint at the waist. You also swivel. Oh, look, I got some red paint on his belt. That stinks. And then ball jointed feet. As I said before, NECA has definitely made a turnaround with this figure. I was kind of worried going forward after that last series that we were going to get more of the same kind of weird translucent plastic and all that stuff. I did like that Series 3 one they put in the last wave, but I really was worried the Dream Child Freddy was going to be the new direction. And it's not. It's definitely not. This is a great Robert Englund sculpt on the body that is just fine, doesn't need to be messed with, but all the details are there. Everything is as it needs to be. And I love it. I freaking love it. This is what I want in my collection. Obviously, this isn't Freddy Krueger, at least not the iconic Freddy Krueger in any way, shape, or form. But as someone who's a big fan of horror movies and who's gone and stood in line for hours on end waiting to get a chance to meet Robert Englund and get his autograph and shake his hand, this is something I really enjoy having. The man behind the mask kind of thing. It's harder to do with a character like Jason or something like that, where if you take the mask off, you want it to be the gruesome face underneath, not Kane Hodder. But Robert Englund, you actually have the chance to go and stick his head on there because it does fit in the movie. And even better, this fits along with what we got with the remake Nightmare on Elm Street figures, because we got the plain Jackie Earle Haley figure in that one, along with the Burt Freddy. So you can kind of have the two men who've played Freddy Krueger side by side if you wanted to. One may be more iconic than the other. But still, this figure gets the highest recommend from me. If you are a fan of any of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, you don't even have to really like Freddy's Dead. I know that movie's kind of polarizing. I enjoy it, but a lot of people don't. Still a solid figure from NECA. It still works just on its own merits of being Robert Englund. And that makes me happy as a fan. Make sure you check out Outside the Box Reviews on Facebook. There'll be a link below. Also, you can check out Outside the Box Reviews on Instagram. Username Outside the Box Reviews on there. And until next time, this has been another Outside the Box Reviews. And whatever you do, don't fall asleep.